Think of Adobe Illustrator as your art table for drawing. When you create a new piece, you will need a new page. Like any program, you will need to start by creating a document and also becoming familiar with the basic interface. Illustrator is a vector-based application, which means that if you decide to enlarge the object you have created on the application, it won't distort the quality of the image. However, Photoshop is a pixel-based application, which means that if you decide to enlarge the image you have made, it will alter the quality of the image. When creating a new document, it is very important for you to have the correct file size to ensure the best quality when exporting the file. If the file size is too small, the image will end up looking pixelated, or if it's too big, it might end up taking too long to export, which is unnecessary if you are working on a small project. Once you open Illustrator, you need to create a new document and set it up to fit your project. Setting up your document is important to ensure that you get the best output for the project you are creating. To become familiar with sizing, let's create a document together. To do this, you can either click on the Create New button on the left-hand side, or you can go onto File, New. A window will pop up on top and it will showcase templates and formats created by Adobe that you can use. When you are inputting the size, you can utilize the tabs here that they have pre-made: Mobile, Web, Print, Film and Video, Art and Illustration. And they allow you to select sizes that you have created from the past by selecting Recent or Saved. The recent file are saved formats that you can refer back to and use them. If you want to work on a web file, you can choose some of the standardized sizes that they have provided. You have all these options here on the right-hand side in which you can input the width, height, orientation, artboard, and color mode. First, let's create a title for the project. The format in which we will label all our projects will be last name _ project number. So for example, Wong _ project 1. You need to always label your file so you know where you have saved it. In this video, we will be setting it up to the size of a regular letter size paper. The size of a regular size paper is 8.5 by 11 inches. This is what we will enter. Just remember that when printing, that will be the size in which your work will come out in, unless you make adjustments to the size of the project. Adjusting the width and height of a document is crucial to ensure that you have the correct size when printing or uploading it online. Enter the preferred width and length for your project. For this class, we will be working in inches so that we can set a standard size together. Once you have set your size, you can decide on the orientation in which you want your document to face. The two options, which are portrait or landscape. I usually go with portrait orientation as most posters use that format. Artboards are basically the canvas in which you create your artwork on Adobe Illustrator. You can make it any size you like and create multiple artboards. Think of artboards as pieces of paper. How many pieces of paper do you want on your table? It's important for you to know this because when you are working with various clients and you want to come up with different iterations of a design that they have asked you to make, instead of creating multiple documents in which you will have to open, all of these iterations will just be on one Illustrator file. The bleed is the amount of artwork that falls outside of the printing bounding box, or outside the crop. It is very difficult to print exactly on the edge of the paper, which is why the creation of the bleed ensures that no unprinted edges occur in the final trimming of the document. It's necessary to print a slightly larger area than is needed, and then trim the paper card down to the required finished size. And it's important for you to know this if you are printing professionally and you want to make sure your entire piece is printed properly and the edges don't get cut off. The next document adjustment is color mode. The most important thing to understand is that they are color outputs. RGB color mode is best for digital work and it represents red, green, blue. Use RGB color mode if your design is supposed to be displayed on any kind of screen. CMYK is a color mode that is best for print products. CMYK represents cyan, magenta, yellow, black. Use the CMYK color mode if your design is supposed to be displayed on any kind of print. You need to know this so that you can print and view the image in the best way possible. If you save an image using an RGB option and decide you want to print it, the printing output may not turn out the way you want it to be. So if you plan on printing documents and you need to set up your document on CMYK to ensure that you have the best color output. Raster effects is the resolution in pixels that form an image. The quality of raster images depend on the resolution. When you are creating a raster image, you must tell the document how large you want it to be. This is measured by how many pixels can fit in an inch, aka PPI, pixels per inch. But those for high-res print output need to be more like 225 to 300 PPI so they don't look pixelated. So if you want the best output for your image, make sure it's on 300 PPI. However, if you plan on just showing a draft, you can pick 72 PPI. I would highly recommend keeping it up on 300 PPI as you can always decrease your quality later on. Once you have created your document, what you are seeing is the current working document. The artboards here is a workable area for your piece, and anything within the artboard is what will be shown in your final piece. The left side showcases the toolbox that will help you create objects and make adjustments to them. The top panel creates more options for you when you select a particular tool from the toolbox. On the right hand side, there are these things called panels, and depending on the type of design or work you are doing, this will determine the type of panels you want to have appear on your screen. It's important for you to know the type of panels you will have appear on your screen because it will affect your workflow. Based on the design field you are in, you will be needing certain panels to help you create your designs. If you are unable to find a panel, you would just need to select Windows, and once you select it, you will find a list of panels in alphabetical order. The ones that have a check mark are the ones that are present on your board. The ones that don't have a check mark are the ones that are hidden. My suggestion is the following panels are the ones that you should have for this particular tutorial. Box number 1, color, color guide, gradient. Box number 2, swatches, stroke, transparency. Box number 3, pathfinder, align, character. Box number 4, layers, artboard. Let's test your understanding. Let's set up a document using the following settings. The size will be 8.5 by 11 inches. Orientation will be portrait. There will be 3 artboards in this particular file. The raster effects is 300 PPI. The color mode is CMYK, and the bleed is just leave it blank. So now you can set it up yourself. Pause this video to see if you can do it yourself, and then we'll have the answers in a bit. To really test your understanding, let's have a little quiz. Number 1, what's the difference between Photoshop and Illustrator? Number 2, why is setting up size important? Number 3, what is this orientation? Number 4, what is this orientation? Five, why would you set up multiple artboards? 6, why do you need raster effects? Number 7, what does PPI stand for? Number 8, what does CMYK stand for? Number 9, what does RGB stand for? If you want to set up a document appropriate for printing, what would you choose? Number 11, if you want to set up a document appropriate for digital, what would you choose? Number 12, why would you want to set up a bleed? Hopefully you were able to answer those questions correctly, and if you were, great job. Let's move on to the next tutorial.